Good evening. So, I'm working on doing Halloween movie reviews for the month of October, getting some horror movies in. Decided to bring on a guest, David, here.
Howdy.
And we're here to discuss to you not only one of the scariest movies ever made, we're here to talk to you about one of the best movies ever made. Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between! We're here today to talk about Psycho. Now, Psycho is the horror, thriller, psychological film by the directing master himself, Alfred Hitchcock. He's one of those directors that's truly timeless. Anybody, even if you say, I don't like old movies, you can watch an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
I love it.
And because he is just so timeless with everything that's put into it, you can just see what he was going for, and you get compelled by that. So the plot of Psycho is that a woman who decides to steal some money from her boss.
A lot of money
From her boss, and makes a run to go see her boyfriend and has to take a stop at a motel. She goes to a motel that ends up being horrific, and now we have our movie.
Well, I want to talk about that intro. When I first saw the movie Psycho, and I was watching the opening scenes, you see this beautiful blonde. And I believe she worked at a bank, right?
No, she was a real estate agent.
A real estate agent. And she steals thousands of dollars in the 50s. Little set. And she goes, and at the time, I truly thought that Psycho was a story about watching her become psycho. After her first crime of theft, you thought her commit deeper crimes and murders, and eventually her true psycho would be revealed on her journey to her boyfriend, where the climax would happen.
That's what they lead you to believe throughout the first 25 minutes of this movie.
First 25 minutes, so you truly believe that it's about her.
You get that psychological music with like that da-na-na-na-na as she's driving and the cop is behind her, and you can see it's getting into her head and she's getting paranoid
I
of her
truly
criminal
thought
actions.
she was the psycho, and she was beautiful. And then you see a beautiful risque scene for the 50s, of her showering, and she gets murdered.
Let's get on with that. Let's talk about the shower scene for a moment. The shower scene
is the second most famous scene to me.
It's one of the most iconic scenes in film, where she's showering and you see the door open behind her and someone's in there and they got a knife. They pull the shower back and stab after stab after stab. And what's amazing is Alfred Hitchcock never once showed you, because it was racy at the time, Alfred Hitchcock never once showed her actually being stabbed. You never once saw a puncture wound. You never saw a knife hit flesh. The rest of it, he always
You just see the blood. You just see the blood. Then no, she's being
and not
hurt.
even that much blood. Every time he moves his arm, they cut, and so they treated it as the cut of the camera and the cut of the clip is the cut of the knife. And so the scene, after you watch it, is actually more violent in your head than what it really was. And Alfred Hitchcock did that like a master, because nowadays what you would have is something where you'd see her getting stabbed and wrenched apart.
There's no imagination in the mind anymore.
Yeah, this one was imaginative and it was innovative. Because back then, if you watched movies when Psycho came out, it was a lot of times
McBeaver, true childhood innocence, the stereotypical family.
The camera was stationary like we are now, and they would show you something quick that would happen, but 2/3 of it would be like play dialogue. And Alfred Hitchcock did a series of rapid cuts that you just ahead of the time. It was ahead of its time. Nowadays, you're like, yeah, that was a murder scene. But back then, what we would have actually seen was something more along the lines of this, if it were not Alfred Hitchcock directing. Alright, I murdered him. Now I have to dispose of the body.
Yeah.
And
Now to continue along with the movie, and after this hour scene, you see who the true psycho is. Norman Bates.
Norman Bates, what I love is that they don't necessarily tell you whether it's him or his mother.
Oh, that was just crazy.
It's where all of a sudden Norman Bates is disposing of his body.
When you see Norman Bates, you hear him arguing with his mother throughout the movie. He likes the woman who robbed the real estate agent, or the thief. He's attracted to her. I mean, it's obvious. Like, even for the 50s, it's obvious he has a hots. And his mom's angry at him for liking
betraying her trust.
Yeah.
So you see this family tension that feels real, that of a mother that doesn't approve of her son. It's so jarring to see all of a sudden who you thought was your main hero get murdered, and now
anti-hero, technically.
Yeah, anti-hero. And now the movie shifts.
And then it's the real movie.
But the creepiness that you get from the horror isn't what would be nowadays, which is a spree of murders. Or
just visually disgusting, like
disturbing looks of his face. This crazed man. And that was so clever.
It's psychological, truly psychological.
Granted, there is more bodies hit the dirt.
Granted, Psycho does have one of the dorkiest scenes of all time. A detective hired by the victim's sister.
The scene is scary until the spot you're talking about.
It's so scary because the detective, you see how vulnerable the detective is. So he realized that he's in over his head. And after being hurt, he's pushed down the stairs, and it really looks like he's on the back of a skateboard, gently falling down the stairs, and it's supposed to insinuate that when he hit the back of the stairs after falling one story, he broke his neck, or that injury is what killed him. But it's like, he's like this, like, oh, I got like 6 seconds before I go. And I feel like at the time that was the best they could have done. But honestly, it would have looked better if they had just shown a dummy. But I think what Alfred Hitchcock wanted, he wanted to show the terror of the detective's face.
Which he did do.
Which he did. And you saw the terror he was going through as he fell through the stairs. So at the time, it was the absolute best they could do.
The movie is scary and intense because it is one of those serial killer murder mystery dramas, which is why when I watch a film as pivotal to film history as Psycho, I get so mad at the TV show Bates Motel because it completely...
Oh, they tried to rework it.
It almost makes a parody of Psycho. And it doesn't even compare. It should not... I don't consider Bates Motel canon. I will never consider it canon. It's one of the worst shows on television. Please cancel it. But that's not what we're reviewing. Ended. No, it's still going.
Oh, see, that shows you I didn't stop following it.
Yeah, but we're reviewing Psycho. Psycho is seriously to me still one of the best films ever made. Yeah. The twist, for those of you who haven't seen Psycho, you have to go watch the film and see this twist. The thing where Paranormal Activity is like ghosts and all that stuff with jump scares, that's cool, that makes you go, huh. But what's truly scary about Psycho is this actually happens to people. There really are serial killers. There are no monsters in the night in this film. It is a real person causing real peril, and that's what makes it so scary.
Of the mother was shocking to me.
Yes, now that we warned you about the plot twist is the mother has been dead, and he's been dressing up and having a double personality that he pretends he is his own mother.
No, he believes it is. Like,
well, yeah, he believes it.
Mom, you can't do that. Oh, yes, you can, son. I can't do that to you. Or, except much better than that.
Yeah.
But you hear this old woman yelling, and then you realize she's just a rotting skeleton in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And Norman Bates, he dresses like his mother. When he becomes sexually attracted to women, the tension he had with his mother comes out.
Yeah.
And he dresses like his mother and then murders the women of his affection. So women come by his motel, and whenever he finds them attractive, he gets angry and he murders them. Yeah. And that's why the original character, the woman who you're following at the beginning of the movie, she's murdered because Bate liked her. That's what was so incredible. When he liked him.
Yeah.
That it's when he hated. That was just so amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing because no one would have thought of things like that back then, or even fathomed it could be a movie. Which is why that
without destroying their career.
Yeah.
It took balls for Alfred Hitchcock.
Well, people didn't want Alfred Hitchcock to make the film, and he did anyway because he said, you know what, this is the story I'm going to tell. I'm going to tell it. So if you don't like it, suck it. And The final scene of the movie, you have been warned, we already talked about it, but you have no idea how disturbing a freaking image can be. To have someone be like Mrs. Bates, and as they turn around, it is a rotting corpse. And they turn around again to look at the doorway to see our anti-hero slash villain, Norman Bates, in his mother's dress and a wig and a knife, just going, ah, and they have to wrestle him to the ground. It is disturbing shit because it really happens. That is called horror. You built the tension. There were no jump scares in this movie, really.
No, it wasn't one of those cheap jump scares. It was psychologically disturbing.
And it's one of those movies that sticks with you. That's why it's one of the best movies
ever made.
Period. One of the best movies ever made. If you're making a Halloween movie playlist of movies to watch on Halloween, put this shit on there because it's fucking great. So, what do you guys think of the film Psycho? Do you guys like it as much as we do? Comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got plenty more videos coming to you.